Hello there, this is Jesse Coffee, and today I embark on the most daunting task in all my collection videos to date, going through my Paramount VHS and DVD collection. Yes, the shelf I have for Paramount tapes is very wide, very massive, very deep, and obviously, well, this is a collection I most prioritize collecting tapes from. And I hoarded Paramount tapes into my house, seemingly hoarded them, more often than I did any other company. Well, how can you blame me for them? Paramount and Buena were the largest companies of the VHS era. Okay. The most daunting task I have in this video is getting through all the Paramount tapes in 3 parts or less. Let's go. Maybe more than 3 parts, maybe 4 or 5 parts. And will I get through all of them in one day? Well, there's only one way to find out. One day of filming, that is. First one is the oldest Paramount tape I have. It's Saturday Night Fever. This is a 1979 VHS of it. So you can see it opens a little bit like this, and this is the original R-rated version. It runs 118 minutes. There's a PG version which runs a little bit shorter, and which I heard is a lot weaker in impact. This is a great, but I've seen the R-rated version, and this is a great film, Saturday Night Fever. Would highly recommend you seeing it, especially if you're into dancing and disco, whatever. Next I have a Gunfight at the OK Corral. This is a tape from, well, it says 79 on the back, but I think this is an early 80s printing. Put it in here anyway. Mid 80s printing, because it comes in the cardboard slipcover case. So that was the old labels. And it was printed during the 52nd week of 1985. So it's definitely later printing. Next tape is North Dallas 40 with Nick Nolte and Mac Davis. This is a 1980 Paramount release. For some reason, it just shows the warning, and then then it goes right to the film. And this tape, I'm sorry though. This didn't have a label when I got it, but I had a set of blank videotape labels at hand and Microsoft Word at hand, so I actually recreated the label on this tape. Still had an end label, and well, there's nothing else going on there. Next is a homemade one that I made myself. The one and only, with Henry Winkler. All Reiner film. I put a print date up there of February 25th, 1981. Next tapes are of Harold and Maude. This is the original book box printing of it that I have. It has the GP rating bumper at the end and the 1979 Paramount logo at the beginning. There's the tape itself, and it's printed during the 14th week of 1984. There's the end label. This is the first copy I got of it. This is a cardboard slipcase version. So it got the newer warning screens at the beginning, and it has the 1975 Paramount logo at the beginning, the then current one. Printed during the 44th week of 1985. The original tape had the 68 logo because it's a 1971 film. Next one is The Fan, another homemade tape on Paramount. 1981 release. Got another homemade tape of it. Gallipoli. I made my own markings of it. Box. Next I have The Jazz Singer, starring Neil Diamond, of course. This is the 1980 version of it, presented by EMI Films, but released on video by Paramount here in the States. And the box, as you can see here, is in very decrepit shape. Kind of sort of appropriate, I guess, because I heard this was not a particularly good remake at all. I think it was one of the last films where someone was in blackface. One of the very last. This comes to us from Paramount Video. It was printed during the 40th week of 1982. And of course, despite the decrepit condition of the box, the tape actually plays very well. The tape actually plays good. Just the box is in decrepit state. Next one is Mr. Magoo's Christmas Carol. This is a 1982 tape, which for some reason actually opens from the back cover and has a custom interior. The most recent both boxes I have. And it's also from the... This is from the 46th week of 1982. There's the end label of the tape. On to the next tape, which is Heaven Can Wait. This is actually a very good film, if you haven't seen it. This is a 1978 film. This tape is from 1985, I think. Printed during the 41st week of 1985. Next one is Catch-22. Mike Nichols film. This is another pretty good film. Yeah, I haven't seen this one yet, but I want to see it. This is it says 79 on the back, but this tape is actually from the mid-80s, I think. Print date is March 4th, 1987, and this has a square with the word 79 next to it. I have no idea what this is. Next one is Ordinary People, which I haven't seen. Ought to get around to it. I heard this was a great film. Printed on March 9, 1987, and again with the square and 79 next to it. Next I have Airplane to the Sequel with Robert Hayes and Julie Haggerty. I haven't seen this one, but I love the original Airplane. This one doesn't have any of the people connected to Airplane, so I can't imagine it'll be half as good as the original film. I suppose all I have to do is pop this in to find out. Let's see if it's got a Waking Your Call on the back. Yes, it does. Printed during the 14th week of 1983. Next one is El Dorado with John Wayne and Robert Mitchum. The 1966 Western has copyright, but the tape, the film is from 1967, as it says up there. And week and year code on the back again is from the 18th week of 1984. Next is this is a pretty good compilation of B movies with commentary from comedians who were contemporary in '82, and who are some of the most famous comedians out there, believe it or not. And this is actually a very good. It's actually a very good movie spoof. Very good commentary on B movies. Yeah, some films consider them among the worst ever made. And this never came out on DVD. It came from Hollywood. But oddly enough, it never came out on DVD. Because the studio got copyright claims, because the studio couldn't clear licensing rights for a lot of the clips in the film for DVD release. For use on the DVD, so they just canceled the DVD release, and it's never come out in that format. We'll put a print date up there on June 28, 1989 on that sticker because it was really faded. This was really printed during the 25th week of 1991, so it's a much later printing. Has the same tape master as on the original release, and the master matches the box, I should say. Next one is the special longer version with 12 minutes of new footage of Star Trek the Motion Picture in linear stereo. This is a 1983 release, as it says there. Recorded on Scotch videotape. Your assurance of quality, apparently. This was printed during the 44th week of 1984. Next one is Grease 2, which I haven't seen. I heard it was not nearly half as good as the original Grease. The original Grease, by the way, classic. And we'll get to that. There's a reason we're going to get to see it later, rather than earlier, in this collection video. This tape has the 75th anniversary labels. And it was printed during the 40th week of 1989. I thought that was an 8 at first, but it turned out to be a 9. Hold on. Next one is a real classic right here, 48 Hours. You really ought to see it if you haven't. Very good film. Bit faded. I think that's the 44th week of either I believe 1983 it's supposed to be reading there. It's either 44th week of 1983 or the 4th week of 1984. I'm not really sure what that's supposed to be reading. Next one is the original tape of Raiders of the Lost Ark. This actually is. It says coming to a theater near you, May 25th, 1984. Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. This has a preview for that at the beginning, and it's the only Indiana Jones movie I have. I don't have any of the follow-ups. This is the. For some reason it says recorded on Scotch videotape, but I see nothing resembling a Scotch videotape on the shell or even the reels. And it was printed during the second week of 1985. Essentially as a preview for, and this opens directly with a preview for Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom on it. Next one is Grease 2 with John Travolta and Olivia Newton-John, and I'll get to the reason why I showed that after Grease 2. This is one of the first hi-fi Paramount tapes to be released. Hi-fi had come onto the scene in 1984, and this was one of the first tapes to be released after the tape came onto this. After that, and the video era came into the scene. And just like the sequel, this one has the 75th anniversary labels. Printed during the 36th week of 1988. Does this have a print date? No. Okay, this tape has the, for some reason, it just randomly starts with winding during the black screen. I have no idea why. Next one is Barefoot in the Park with Robert Redford and Jane Fonda. This is a tape from 1967 Neil Simon film. Another early hi-fi release, as it says there. It's got the 75th anniversary label, and someone did a good job of ripping off the end label for this one. It was printed June 1st, 1987, and this has a 167 at the top. Already debunked the theory that it was the 16th week of 1987 alternate reading. I already debunked that theory. That it was actually an alternate reading of the 16th week of 1987. There's really not been any conclusive proof to that. Next one is, well, I uploaded the full tape recently, but that's by virtue of my still having a DVD art dub of it. It's sound, and also by virtue of the copyright owners not really giving a shit about this being on YouTube. It's Sounder. This is a great film from 1972, but the box is 82 for some reason. And this is a 1984 cassette. I uploaded this one for Juneteenth, again, just by virtue of having a DVD-R at hand of the full thing to upload to YouTube. Reason why I couldn't do it from the actual tape is because well, not only do I not have a working VCR now, but also it broke on the right after I did the second dub of it, which is the one that I derived the upload from. It was the second dub of it, which didn't have a time code on screen. I did another one that did have the time code on the screen. And it was printed during, this tape was printed during the 36th week of 1985. Comes from some place called Home Theater Limited. Here's another homemade tape I made. The Man Who Wasn't There. I put a print date up there of February 2nd, 1984. And next I have the original Nutty Professor with Jerry Lewis. I also have the Eddie Murphy remake, which is the only one of the two that I've seen. I heard this one was a comedy classic, and probably Jerry Lewis's best film. I haven't seen it in its entirety, so I'm going to have to give it a watch. Because of the 75th anniversary labels. It was printed on, what was the date? June 8th, 1988. And during the 24th week of 1988. It actually went down there. It's actually meant to open the other way around for some reason. Because look where their stickers dread. Look at the direction of that sticker there. So it's actually meant to open the other way for some reason. Next I have a Footloose. Another homemade tape. Yeah, my printer was really acting screwy when I printed the box. I put a print date up there of January 29, 1985. Next one is Star Trek 3, The Search for Spock. This is a tape from 1985, I think. And the end label seems to have fallen off some time ago. Printed during the 6th week of 1985. Then I have Thief of Hearts. The special home video version, apparently. Unrated. This special video release is unrated and includes foreign version love scenes. There's no end label for this one. Printed during the 38th week of 1985. And it comes from... well, I'm pretty stumped as to what store it comes from. Next I have Irving Berlin's White Christmas. Stereo enhanced, apparently. And this tape is from 1985. There's the end label of the tape. It was printed during the 52nd week of 1985. It's a pretty good film. Paramount's first VistaVision film. I actually like this one, although there are some people saying it pales in comparison to Holiday Inn, with which this film was a partial remake. But I'm not sure. I haven't seen the actual Holiday Inn movie, so I wouldn't know. Next one is, well, not its entirety anyway. Next one is the only episode of the actual original and uncut Star Trek TV series I have, which is Soon Born's for Adonai. I have the original TV guide ad for this episode from the Cleveland edition. It's from, this was originally broadcast on September 22nd, 1967. It's actually a Me in Mexico stamp on the back. Oh, got it. Printed during the 45th week of 1985. 45th week of 1988, rather. But it still has the older labels on it. Oh wait, I do have Temple of Doom. I must have miscounted. Must have been really short-sighted there. We'll get to that in a little bit. Next one is The Big Bus. Yeah, I did get that out, so I can show it in this video. How silly of me to think I didn't have it. Oh my god. That has to be a mistake there. But I'm going to make amends for it by showing it to you in a little bit. Anyway, this is a disaster movie spoof. The Big Bus is. I haven't seen this one. Looks pretty good. Looks like a... It fancied my curiosity ever since I saw an ad for it in the July 4th, 1976 edition of the Baltimore Sun, which I have. This was purchased from Video Etc. in Wells Plaza in Wells, Maine. And it was printed during the 45th week of 1985. It has the original Paramount Gateway labels on it. Can't tell you whether it will be as good as Airplane or not, but there's only one way to find out, and that's my watching it. Alright, now I can get to the Temple of Doom, which I almost forgot I had. Which I completely forgot I had. And just remembered at the last minute. And just saw it at the... I just saw it at the last minute. This film may be too intense for younger children, it says there. Yep, the gaff where I didn't realize I had a copy of Temple of Doom until I saw it right in front of me is going to ring down history as one of the biggest gaffes. The biggest gaff in my entire video uploading career. Print date on the tape is October 24th, 1986, and it was printed during the 44th week of 1986. That's what it reads. Next one is Top Secret from the makers of the original Airplane. That being Jim Abrahams, David Zucker, Jerry Zucker. It's a parody of Elvis films and the Cold War, which ought to be interesting. Also, one of the only two of their films that Leslie Nielsen wasn't in. The other one being, well, only three rather. The other two were Kentucky Fried Movie and Ruthless People. Printed on November 8th, 1986, which was during the 46th week of 1986. Next one, I remember reading about this in, well, we'll get to the 75th anniversary tapes a little bit later. But, next one is Summer Rental. Haven't seen this one. Well, the movie, that is. It's from Carl Reiner, again. During the 6th week of 1986. And this comes from Beverly Hills Video in Portland, Oregon. Next tape is Top Gun with Tom Cruise and Kelly McGillis. I've not seen Top Gun Maverick yet, but I would like to check that out at some point. This one is, well, it was the first tape to ever have an ad on it. It has a commercial for Diet Pepsi at the beginning. It's the first, like, actual release to have a ad for a product at the beginning. A product other than VHS tapes or movies. Printed during the 18th week of 1987. 18th week of 1987. Next one is a real comedy classic here. Ferris Bueller's Day Off. There's Blank Set of Night at the top, and it was printed on July 31st, 1987. This comes from Video West in West Hollywood and Studio City. Next, I have a great film here, Crocodile Dundee with Paul Hogan. I have not seen any of the sequels to this one. This is a great, but anyway, this is a great, like, sort of old-fashioned sort of movie. As a brief ad for comedy, opens, the tape opens with a brief ad for, brief spiel for, the first sequel. And it was printed during the 26th week of 1987. Next tape is Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Another comedy classic. This is from 1988. Got previews in the beginning for Distant Thunder and U2 Rock, Rattle, and Hum in it, I think. There's a pretty beat up end label there. It was printed during the 30th week of 1988. Next tape is An Officer and a Gentleman. This is a 1988 cassette. There's the end label. Print date is January 12th, 1990. I think that was what it's supposed to read. Which was during the, it was printed during the 18th week of 1990. No, it's April 12th, 1990. I'm sorry about that. Next one is, Alvin Holder's A New Life. This is a tape from 1988. There's the end label. And it was printed during the 40th week of 1988. Next one, I quite like this one. It's a film, another film I quite like. It's another really good film if you haven't seen it. The Golden Child. Eddie Murphy is the chosen one. I'm not sure how many people like it, but I do. This got an ad for Eddie Murphy Raw at the beginning, which I haven't found a copy of in stores, but I watched that film on Showtime when I had a subscription to it at one time, and it was really funny. Anyway, this was printed during the 36th week of 1988. Next I have Funny Face with Fred Astaire and Audrey Hepburn. 1988 tape. It was printed during the 13th week of 1990. The next tape is Crocodile Dundee 2 with Paul Hogan and Linda Kozlowski. And then this actually opens. This comes in one of those weird containers where you actually press a button and that gets the tape open for you. I think this has a Diet Pepsi at the beginning, if I'm not mistaken. Make a really thin case, and it makes the case a bit hard to open. I'm going to show you the end label for this one. Printed during the 10th week of 1989. And, really weird case where you have to press a button to open tape. I have no idea. I'm not sure. I don't have any other tape like it. Not even cut down. And this comes to us from Blowout Video. Okay, Next tape is The Accused. This is another great film if you haven't seen it. It's a blockbuster rental, an early one. It's actually, this is, I think, one of the earlier stickers for previously viewed tapes on it. And it says, Blockbuster 17 plus youth restricted viewing. Again, really good film if you haven't seen it. And despite that mark, this tape is actually not closed captioned for some reason. Yeah, here's the tape itself. A little bit hard to read the print date there, but it's April 13th, 1988. 89, rather. Printed during the 16th week of 1989. The very last Paramount release, I think, that had the acid trip warning screen on it. Before the then there was the release of the Coming to America tape from May of 1989, a few weeks after this came out, and it has. It was the first tape to introduce the feature presentation bumper from Gulf+Western. I only have a handful of. I have one or two tapes, one or two or three tapes that have the Gulf+Western variation of the byline of the feature presentation bumper on it. This is one of the Major League with Tom Berenger, Charlie Sheen, and Corin Burson. This is a tape from 1989. This comes from Castle Video. I have no idea where they were. This was printed during the 38th week of 1989. Get that tape back in there. There we go. Next tape. The Sons of K. Elder with John Wayne and Dean Martin. '88 release. This was printed December 21st, 1988. Printed during the second week of 1989, however. Next one is Trading Places. A great film if you haven't seen it. This is a 1983 Eddie Murphy and Dan Aykroyd pairing. It's a great film if you haven't seen it. And this tape is from 1989. There's the tape there. There's the end label. Raw off the original tape master, I think. And this was printed during the... I can barely read that, but it's the 16th week of 1991. Next one, I really have to go check this out one day. Tucker, the Man in His Dream. It's a tape from 1989. Actually, revealed the print date under the end label. It's October 11th, 1990. This has PHB on the side. Next one is Cousins with Ted Danson, Isabella Rossellini, Sean Young, and William Peterson. This one I think also has the Paramount Gulf+Western feature presentation bumper on it. It's a 1989 release again. The 35th week of 1989. Next last two that I have in slipcases are Police Squad tapes. Help Wanted, the hit TV series inspired the hit movie The Naked Gun. I think I bought those on eBay in 2012. I got them in 2012. These are This is a really funny series inspired the Mega Gun trilogy. Put a print date up there of August 24th, 1991. This was printed during... Well, you can't see that. So I'm going to have to read it for you. 33rd week of 1991. It says there. This is a great show. If you haven't, this is a great show if you haven't seen it. It is on DVD, but apparently they couldn't clear the music rights for some of the songs, so these VHS tapes and the Laserdiscs are the only ways to get it as intended. So the show that is. So this is More Police Squad. That's the other one. The episodes are out of order between the two tapes, at least as far as air dates are concerned, and the air dates are not given on the back for some reason. There's actually a Columbia House copy, printed during the 11th week of 1996. Here's our two tapes I have from a division of Paramount that released operas on VHS. That would be Bel Canto. One of them is Manon Lescaut with Renata Scotto, Placido Domingo, Pablo Ibarra, and Renato Capecci. Taped on March 29, 1980. This is an 87 release. Offered by Puccini. There's a little bit of an introduction inside there. This is from 1987. Tape again. These have rather unique labels. They look kind of like this, and that's what their end labels look like. And it was printed during the This tape was printed during the 45th week of 1987. There's an orange sticker there, so I think this has a white screen at the end. Next one is the other one is Tosca. Tape between March 20th and 27th of '85. This one features Hildegard Behrens, Placido Domingo, Cornell McNeil, and Italo Teju. And this apparently won an Emmy Award for Outstanding Classical Program of '84 and '85. And this is a 1989 tape. Bel Canto, I think, was only around during the mid to late 80s on Paramount. And, well, it exists as a label during that time. Printed during the 40th week of 1990. So this is a slightly later printing. That's all the Gulf+Western's done. Next video I'll do the Paramount Communications era ones. And I have a lot of them.